FNCS last chance is now over and we know which teams are no longer making it to grand finals. Mongraal unfortunately missing out. Thomas HD, is he going to retire? Yanis, Noah Riley, so many big names missing out, but a bunch of them complaining, saying it's not fair they didn't qualify because of a bug. We also have some big names making it through, like Edgy, who still now has a chance to qualify to the grand finals to contest Peterbot and get his revenge. We also have some leaks about what's going on with the new map in the new season, which has a big impact for globals. And a bit of a spoiler, it's actually the middle of the map that's being changed, which could really affect Peterbot's decision to go brutal boxcars. I also have my big announcement. I am running a huge Fortnite solo LAN event next week, and also you guys have a chance to be able to qualify and play. So that's going to be talked about in the video. We have a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. First up is my announcement, and I'll be talking about this if anyone else announced it as well, because it is a Fortnite LAN event. I am running a $23,000 solos Fortnite LAN event next Tuesday. This is going to be hosted in NA. I'm inviting all the biggest players in NA. We have Peterbot, Zen, Higgs, Cold, Iomzo, Ritual, so many more. They're going to be all playing in the same lobby, in the same room. I'm going to be streaming it on my Twitch and YouTube channel. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be super exciting, and I'm hosting it on my brand new map, which is the second part of my announcement. Yes, I have made a map, but it's so much more than that. I am hosting a giant tournament circuit that I want you guys involved in so you can win money and you can improve at the game as well. So if you want to support it, basically I'm going to be running a whole bunch of tournaments for anyone to play on my new map. It is called Tournament Late Game. You can check it out if you want. I'll put the link in the description down below. If you search up tournament in Fortnite, it will come up, and basically it is a late game map that we've built completely custom on a miniature version of the island that I'm going to be regularly updating with every seasonal update. So it's going to be like the regular maps you can practice for in-game tournaments. Hopefully they come back with competitive loot pool and a competitive meta, and even if tournaments don't come back, I'm going to start running my own. The more of you guys who played the map and support it, the more revenue I can generate to run big tournaments like this LAN event, but I'm also running opens tournaments that you guys can qualify and play for just by playing the map. So give it a try, favorite it, jump on the map. I'm going to be jumping in over the next few days and doing challenges, inviting people to tournaments. I already just ran a big tournament with a whole bunch of pros. If you saw that on my stream, it was amazing. It was hilarious. It's super fun, and I really feel like this is missing right now. There's not enough tournaments going on, and instead of me waiting around for Fortnite to run them, I'm gonna run my own. And this way, by you guys playing and supporting the map, I can invite you and also share in the wealth that's generated from the map. So if you want to check it out, I'd really appreciate it. I'm super proud of this announcement, and keep an eye out for even more events. But this LAN event next weekend, the Mike and Ike Flavor Brawl, is going to be massive. I promise you it's gonna be one of the coolest events you've seen. The space is looking sick, and I'm so excited for it. Now, let's talk about the last chance qualifiers, and it's just that, the last chance to make FNCS Grand Finals. If you don't know how the format works, it's super simple. All these teams had 10 games, 3 hours. They had to get top 33 to make the finals, where they're going to play in 3 games. If they win one, they go through to Grand Finals. And there's a lot of big teams that need it. The EU had some insane teams. Thomas HD, Shark, Cammy, some of the biggest players on the region, with only 3 spots up for grabs, and a lot of them missed out on even making it to the finals. But I want to talk about NA first, because there's one big storyline I'm sure a lot of you guys are focused on. Edgy. Did Edgy, Dukes, and Chance make it through to the finals? And the answer is yes. They haven't made it to grand finals just yet. The finals are going to take place today as of you watching this video, and we have to see whether Edgy's team will get one of those spots, because if they do, they're going to be contesting Peterbot. And this is a big topic. If you guys missed the groups, if you missed any of my content, Peterbot made it his games or his tournament's mission to make sure that Edgy didn't make it out of groups, and now Edgy potentially has the chance to make it through last chance and then get payback on Peterbot by contesting him. But Peterbot's still taking measures into his own hands. As soon as Edgy qualified to last chance finals, Peterbot felt the need to reach out to Twitter and maybe see if he could find a team to coach in the finals. Now, I don't think Pete all of a sudden felt like he needs to start sharing his wisdom and try to develop an up-and-coming player and just be a good guy and help out the new players. I think this is very specific, that he's looking for a team that might potentially want to drop brutal boxcars and maybe hold it down for Peterbot. Now, this is not a new strategy. Coaching teams at your drop spot, or coaching teams try to hold a drop spot down for you, has always been a very touchy subject, because definitely sounds a lot like collusion, but a lot of teams do it. If you qualify to grand finals in group 1 and there's a team you're friends with in group 2, you can offer to coach them to hold down your drop spot, and then, oh look, in finals, if they qualify, they're not going to contest me because they know I'm better at the drop spot. It's how it goes. So we'll see whether Dukes and Edgy gets one of these spots. They started off really struggling. After the first 5 games, I think they only had like 40 points and things were looking really bad. Then they brought it back with an insane finish and easily qualified to the finals, and they're looking pretty good to get a win. They weren't the team that was looking the best on NA though. That title goes over to Muzz, Shadow, and Sphinx. They came in first on 555 points. They played 7 matches and won 6 of them. They won all but one singular match. They absolutely popped off and dominated this performance. Again, if you look at what it took to qualify, it was only 334 points. Muzz's team qualified by almost double the points required, which shows, again, they just shouldn't be in last chance. Muzz's team obviously is a grand finals caliber team, and they are almost definitely the favorite coming into the finals. As far as NA, I already talked about it. My predictions haven't really changed. I think the finals is going to be Muzz, Edgy, and Creon's team. We'll see if I'm wrong. I know a lot of Pete fans will be unhappy for me to say that, but maybe if Edgy qualifies, Pete goes back to Demons. Maybe Edgy qualifies and drops somewhere else. There's no guarantee if Edgy quals, they're going to drop on Peterbot, and there's no guarantee that Peterbot stays at Brutal Boxcar. So still all up in the air. We'll have to see what happens in finals on NA and who qualifies through. Now, moving on to EU, and this is going to be a lot sadder. We had some really big teams miss out. Some of them because of a queue bug. We had a bunch of teams not get into their last game despite having 6 and 7 minute queues, which pretty much completely messed up their chance of qualifying. Refscard, Yanis, and so many other big names only needed like a decent game, like a 20-point game, to make it to the finals. They queued in with 6 minutes left and never got in the game. They weren't the only ones, so the big names that I think are missing from last chance finals is even more than this as well, but the biggest names definitely is Thomas, Sky, and Scroll. Thomas AC has gone from coming second at the last LAN event to completely missing this one. Remember, last season, they were only 1 place off making it to the LAN event, and now they don't even make the grand final. I don't know what Thomas is going to do. We talked about how Thomas was suggesting he might retire if he doesn't make grand finals. He hasn't made any statement on the situation. Sky and Scroll both took to Twitter to vent their frustration and sadness. It is really upsetting. That is a phenomenal team, but they did end up falling short. We had Yanis and Noah Riley also not make it through. They had issues with queues. We had Refscard, Mumsy, and Skyjump. They got stuck in a really long queue. We have Andalex not making it through. And the last big team, a sad one, Mongraal, Haijo, and Kaido. Now, I wish I could blame a queue bug, but it wasn't a queue bug. They just, unfortunately, in their last game, needed about 40 or 50 points. They got some terrible zones. They just didn't perform, and Mongraal even went down to full damage at the very end. It was super sad to see, and it was a sad end to what was a really good run. I think Mongraal was actually playing really solid, not just in this last chance, but in all of the stages of FNCS. It was just unfortunate. They did have a game before this. They came off the back of getting 3 wins, and then in one of their games, they took the island early, ended up going down to Surge, and it completely messed up their momentum. They wasted so much time in that game, and that was the main reason, unfortunately, they didn't qualify, which means Mongraal is out of FNCS, but I've talked about it a whole bunch. I don't think Mongraal's going to retire. He's talked about how he's really enjoying the game. He's really motivated. His community is rallying behind him, and they're being a lot more friendly. Even if he does underperform, they have a lot more realistic expectations, and he's still really enjoying the game. So I don't think Mongraal's going anywhere, but unfortunately his season as far as FNCS is over. We did still have a whole bunch of big teams make it through the finals, and I did want to give my prediction on my 3 teams I think will qualify out of the finals. Now that Thomas HD didn't make it, I do think it's going to be Eclipse, Twy, and Dexy. They are a very aggressive team. I can expect them having a huge pop-off game to get their win. We'll see. I drop Hari and Cammy. Cammy actually needed to clutch up a win in the last game to qualify. They only just made it through, showing how hard it is, but I think they are definitely a favorite to get a win in finals. And then Kombek, Shark, and Blaha. Shark has had so high expectations on him. There's been a big spotlight on him. He's done really well. The consistency's been a little bit off, but I think they will be able to handle the pressure. Shark is still working with Raz, a phenomenal coach. I think they'll have a great game plan, and I'm definitely expecting them to get one of the 3 wins in the finals. I know it's a little bit early. We have the new season in just under a week, but we're not really talking too much about new season leaks yet. But because Globals is around the corner, I did want to point out we had Lulu, one of the more credible leakers, leak a tweet that we actually got from It's Me Leaky with a few notes of what's happening in the new season. I'm not too worried too much about the skins and stuff. What I'm mostly worried about is the fact that apparently most of the map changes are going to happen around the middle of the map for the new season, and specifically Flooded Frogs is going to be gone. So we just had Reed's team recently move from Flooded Frogs to Resistance. A lot of people questioning their decision for that, myself included, but if Flooded Frogs is now gone, it looks like they dodged a bullet. That is Vanya, Pixie, and Marius' drop spot, one of the favorites to win FNCS on EU, who have already qualified for LAN. Potentially they might have to find a new drop spot, and if the middle map changes, I don't really know what the middle of the map kind of means. I guess Brutal Boxcars, which would be very interesting considering Venno and Peterbot, 2 teams already qualified for LAN, 2 favorites to dominate LAN, that's their drop spot as well. So maybe Peterbot, unfortunately, not not making the best choice with his drop spot, especially if you want to practice for the LAN event. Again, these are very early leaks. There's not too much to go off here, but I'm still keeping an eye on what's going on for the new season because LAN is like a month away at this point.